Hello neighbor, Alicia Dolan here at Creating in My Corner. I'm so glad you could join me for tonight's card class. We are here for Sunday night free card class. Tonight we're going to be using the More Than Autumn stamp set. And I just wanted to tell you real quick, if you haven't joined me before, how this works. So 2 Sundays a month, I bring you a free card class on a Sunday evening. I'm going to show you how to make 2 cards. And if you want to get the kit that goes with these cards for free, all you have to do is place your order of $35 or more and use the host code for this month between October 20th and October 30th. And then I will send you the card kit that goes with tonight's class. And tonight is a design as you go class. So I do not prepare these cards ahead of time. I kind of think about what we want to use, what stamp set, maybe what paper. But a lot will change in the process. And then later on in the week, hopefully, I will send out a PDF with a tutorial that tells you all of the measurements and sizes for each of the cards that we do tonight. I'm so glad that you could join me, and we will go ahead and get started. Let me turn the camera around, and here we are in our stamping space. This is the stamp set that we're working with tonight. It's called More Than Autumn. There are a lot of really great images and words in this stamp set. I'm excited about it because it's a really fun stamp set. The first card that we're going to make is actually going to be sort of a Christmas card. I have this paper, the Iconic Celebrations paper, and there are a lot of different patterns in here. Let me show you a few just to start. There are some nice autumn leaves, some dots. There are some champagne glasses, some little hearts. This really great plaid that would be perfect for winter or Christmas or any of those things. In fact, we might use that later. It's on my list of things. There's some cute little Christmas trees. There are adorable pumpkins. And so there's really a little bit of every season in this pack of paper. There are some birthday candles in here. Some green leaves. So this is a great paper for any season. But what we're going to start out with is these cute little peppermint candy canes. And we're going to make a really cute card tonight. Let's start with a card base that is crumb cake. Crumb cake is one of my all-time favorite colors. I just love its craftiness, and it just feels to me like a good color for cards or any time of the year, any season. Crumb cake will work for pretty much anything. So let's cut our cardstock at 5.5. So our card will measure 5.5 by 8.5. I'm just going to set this off to the side for now. We're going to turn our card sideways, and we're going to score it at 4.25. This will give us our base card, and this is a really basic size, basic measurements that I use for cards a lot. So there is our first piece. And then in this candy cane paper, we've got colors like cherry cobbler, and let's see if it tells us what else might be in here. I think cherry cobbler is probably the main color. Some variations of cherry cobbler are in here. Well, let's take a piece of cherry cobbler. And this is a scrap piece that I had in my stash here, and it measures about 1.5 inches. So let's cut that at 5 1/4. So we'll have a piece of cherry cobbler that's 1.5 inches by 5 1/4. And I think we will put that right here. Okay, and then let's cut a piece of cherry cobbler that is 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. So there's 4 1/4 down the center, and then we'll cut it in 3 1/4. Oh, I just noticed my head was in the picture. I'll try to keep that back a little further. All right, so now we've got 2 pieces of cherry cobbler that we're going to overlap kind of like this. Let's cut our candy cane paper at 3 by 4. On the back of these candy canes is that mossy meadow with the pretty leaves. Okay, and we're going to layer this up like that. And I think to give some shape to our piece of cherry cobbler, we should do some embossing. So let's see what could we use for that. And since we're talking about wintertime, how about if we do snowflakes? I know that cherry cobbler and snowflakes probably don't usually go together. But let's try it and see how it turns out. So we'll just put this in here, and then we're going to run it through our die cutting machine with the embossing plate on. And this is what we end up with. Can you see that? Those little snowflakes all over our piece of paper. And I think what we're going to do is I'd like to add a little bit of color to those. So I'm going to grab my white craft ink and a sponge dauber. Now the sponge daubers come in a pack of 5, and you can use those with any of the types of ink. And I'm just going to dab this on my craft ink. Hopefully I'm picking up so that it looks like my ink pad might need to be re-inked sometime soon. And then I'm just going to kind of tap it on where I can see the little snowflakes that were embossed on my paper. So I'm just kind of rubbing it over those pretty gently. And I'm thinking that they're going to pick up most of that color. Any place where it's a little bit more, it has a little more shape than the other places. There we go, and that just gives it a little bit of color on those snowflakes. I don't know if you can see that very well, but see how that just gives those snowflakes a little bit of color, just so they stand out from everything else. Now we could actually add more of that ink and make them stand out more, but I think that will do for now. So what we've got so far is our piece that's embossed. That's going to go here on the side. Then we have another piece here. And then our candy cane paper. Next, I'm going to get a white circle for the next layer. Now, if you have a 2 3/8" circle punch, you could use that. I have these layering circle dies, which are not available now, but if you have those, you can use those. You could use any circle punch that you have or circle dies. We just want a label to go on our card. I'm going to die cut mine over here on the side. Now, if you haven't used a die cutting machine before and you need some instruction on that, you can always look up some of the videos on YouTube. My area right now is not set up really well for showing off that die cutting, but I have done it before. And if you need help, you can always message me and I can tell you a little more about how that works. There is our circle. And next we're going to add a little bit of color to our circle. So what we're going to do is, over here I have my Stampin' Chamois, my cleaning chamois, which is not clean at all, as you can see. And I'm going to set it here on the other side of my case. It's a little bit damp, so I'm worried it's going to get too wet, but you're going to try it anyways. So what we're going to do is take our Cherry Cobbler Stampin' Pad and we're going to squeeze it together. What that does is transfers ink from the pad to the lid. And then when you open it up, I have to squeeze a little harder than I thought. When you open it up, you're going to see that little ink splotch right there. Now what we're going to do is take our spritzer, and this just has water in it. So we're just going to spritz our ink a little bit to make sure it's good and wet, just like that. And we're going to take our watercolor painter. We're going to swirl it around in that ink. And then we're going to tap it on the side so that little splotches of ink go on our circle. And we can actually do it one of two ways. You can tap it on the side or you can tap it against the lid like this. And what that does is just add little speckles of color to our circle. And I actually want to do that with two different colors. So I'm going to wipe off my watercolor painter. Now you can rinse this out underwater if you get more ink on it than what you intended. And I'm going to grab my crumb cake ink, and I'm going to do the same thing, just because that pulls those colors in together a little bit. All right, we squeezed our ink off. We're going to give it a spritz. Well, that's kind of off to the side, but it's good and wet. And then we're going to do that same thing again. And we're just going to tap it so that ink splatters onto our circle. This one's definitely not as obvious as the other one. It might not be as wet. Okay, then we're going to clean our water painter a little bit. Just here on our chamois. Now these, you do want to be careful when you put them back in so that those brush ends don't get bent, because it's very easy for that to happen. A little bit of butter off to the side. Okay, well now we have our circle with a little bit of color on it. We're going to set that off to the side, and now we're going to do some stamping. So I have got a piece of white over here. Let me get a smaller piece. This one will probably work. And we are going to stamp in Memento Black. We're going to stamp our coffee cup. So we're going to tap it on there. And remember, we're just tapping. We don't have to press hard. Although the Memento is a felt pad instead of foam. So even if you press hard, it won't really sink in. But you will pick up a little more ink, and it might be too much. So we're going to stamp our coffee cup. We are going to stamp a tiny candy cane. Let's do some whipped cream. Okay, let's see, coffee cup, whipped cream, candy cane. And let's leave it at that. Okay, let's do a little coloring here. So I am going to color my coffee cup. I'm going to, I'm going to try to zoom in. Give me a second to find where, there it is. All right, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, so hopefully you can see my coloring a little easier. We're going to start with crumb cake, and I have both the light and the dark crumb cake. So I'm going to color this part of my coffee cup here, which would be the I think that's the coffee cup cozy. I don't know how many other people drink a lot of coffee, but I do, and I love coffee cup cozies. In fact, I make them at Christmas time. I have some crocheted ones that I make and sell at Santa's Workshop. And that is one of my favorite things to make and sell. I crochet the cozy and then I usually applique some kind of little stitching on it. Sometimes it's coffee related, sometimes it's not, but it's one of my favorite things to do. All right, and then I'm going to go back with the light one again and just kind of add a little bit more color to those edges. All right. And then let's make our cup part, let's make it pool party. I really like pool party, especially with the red. I don't know why, but I like pool party and red together. All right, so let's color our cup. I was camping this weekend and I definitely had quite a few little cups of warm coffee, both this morning and this afternoon. All right, here is the dark pool party, and I'm just going to go along these edges a little bit. See if I can't give my cup just a little more shape here. There we go. And like I told you before, I really love coloring. So I could spend a lot of time coloring all the things. I've got light cherry cobbler, and I'm going to use this on the rim of the cup. And then I'm going to grab the dark cherry cobbler, and I'm going to use that on the candy cane. Now, when I'm coloring with the markers, I know that I can go right over that memento, but most of the time I try not to. I know that the colors will blend together a little bit, but I like to try as much as I can to keep them from becoming fuzzy, and that it's really, they get fuzzy pretty easy. Not as easy as the markers, the Stampin' Up markers, because they are definitely meant for a little more fuzziness. Now this time I'm using the light smoky slate, and I'm just using a little bit here on our whipped cream to kind of give it a little more shadow. Okay. Now the More Than Autumn dies, you can use these to cut these out. You can fussy cut them if you do not have the dies. So you can do either way. But I am going to use the dies because I have them. All right, so maybe I should try to show you this. Let me set these stamps up here because I haven't cleaned them yet. And I don't want them to get ink anywhere else. Now, when we cut these out, we're going to get our die cutting machine, and let me zoom you back out because we're way too close now. Woo! Too far. I wish there was an easy switch that just zoomed you to the right place, but that's not the case. At least not that I know. All right, so we are going to put our piece of paper in here, and then we just need to pick the pieces that match what we're die cutting. So here is a little shape that goes around the whipped cream. I love hot cocoa. That's another thing that I had a lot when I was camping. Lots of cocoa with whipped cream, and I really like little chocolate shavings or little sprinkles of cinnamon on top. I don't always get carried enough away to go through with putting them on there, but I do love it when they are. All right, so here are our dies. Now, sometimes people will tape these down if they're a little unsure if they're going to slide around, but we are going to take a chance. We're going to walk on the wild side and just try to cut these out, hopefully without them shifting too far. See how it makes our whole table wiggle? It's a very tough machine. All right, I'm going to put these off here to the side. That one usually stuck on there. Okay. And then here are our little pieces. Okay, so now we've got our card. Our little circle's pretty much dry now. Here's our little coffee cup and our whipped cream and our peppermint stick. And what I want to do is, this is my Stampin' Pierce mat, so I'm going to turn it to the back side and set my little whipped cream down. Okay guys, I have to put these back kind of in their places so that I don't lose anything. All right, now I'm going to take this is just a X-Acto knife, and I'm going to make a little slit in my whipped cream. Just big enough, hopefully, that I can tuck my candy cane inside there. Now, if you don't have a X-Acto knife, you can always use the end of your, take your pick tool, that little pointy end, to poke a couple holes in there and get it in the right spot. I think I should have made that hole just a tiny bit bigger because I'm having trouble getting it in there. Okay, just a little more. And I'm going to tuck that candy cane right inside there. There it goes. Okay, just like that. And then let's stamp our words. I've got a little piece of white right here. And let's see. Let's say you had me at hot cocoa. That sounds good to me. Let's see. You had me at, and we can put this right on this little skinny block, which is block G. And we're going to do this the same way. We're going to tap, tap, tap. And then I'm afraid I'm always getting my head in the picture here. I'm trying not to. So we're going to stamp that over here on our skinny piece. Oh, and that was too much. All right, I'm going to try again. It just looks a little too dark to me. Oh, okay, that's better. Hopefully my head has not been in front of the camera too many times. Okay, I'm going to put those up there with the stamps we have to clean. And we're just going to fussy cut this. So we're going to trim both of those ends. And then along the top and bottom. Okay, and we're going to put this up here. You had, well, maybe we're not. We're going to put this. It's hard because not everything's stuck together yet, right? Had me at, and then let's cut out the hot cocoa because there are a few words that come in our die cuts. There's hot cocoa, apple, season, pumpkins. Nothing's better than latte and coffee. So those are the words, well, and spice. Those are the words we have to choose from. So let's do hot cocoa. And we will cut those out of crumb cake. So I've got some little pieces right over here that are the perfect size. And I'm just going to die cut those on my Big Shot. If you have the Stampin' Up! And Emboss machine, you can use that. If you have the mini cut and emboss, you can use that. They will all work with our dies. Alright, so let's put these back in their case. Just like that. Okay, and here's our hot cocoa. So let's go ahead and put our card together. And I think on this first piece that's embossed, we're actually going to add a little bit of ribbon too. This is the frayed grosgrain ribbon. I never know exactly how to say that. But let's put a little piece I don't really want to cover up those little snowflakes. They're too cute. Okay, so we'll put it across the other way. We're going to turn this over, add our adhesive, and you can use whatever adhesive you prefer. I love the green glue. For me, I feel like it's the easiest to work with. I know that a lot of people like it and a lot of people don't. It seems like one of those products that you either like it a lot or you really don't like it a lot. Okay, there's that. Oh, somehow I got a little something sticky on my table. Okay, then we're going to turn our designer series paper over. And we're going to add this to our 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 cherry cobbler. Just like that. Okay, and let's put our little cup together. So I'm going to grab a mini glue dot. And I'm just going to put that right here underneath my candy cane. So I need my Take Your Pick tool, which I left upstairs. So I'm going to use my scissors. I do not recommend this because they are really sharp. And so I have poked myself many a time. Okay. And then we can add a little bit of our green glue right to the edge of our coffee cup here. And we don't do much. We can just add a tiny bit and stick our little whipped cream on top. I'm trying to make sure that that coffee cup shows. I'm going to turn that over. And on the back, I'm going to put a Stampin' Dimensional. And I'm going to put it on top of both the whipped cream and the coffee cup. And then I can put another one down here a little farther. Okay. Now, I'm going to add a little bit of this ribbon around our layer. So we're just going to trim that here. We're going to add, I forgot I had glue dots over here too, a glue dot to either end. Now, a lot of the time, instead of tying a ribbon around, I will do this, where I add a glue dot to either end of my ribbon and lay it across whatever I'm going to put it around, and then just fold it over the edges. So it still looks like it goes all the way around, but it doesn't really. It's just tucked over those edges. And then we can take a second piece and tie a little knot. Okay, just like that. And I'm going to leave it right there for now. I may want to trim it later, but for now, I'm going to leave it. And then we're going to add some more dimensionals. And now that I'm at the end of this one, I can trim all these edge pieces and use those. I like to make sure that I am getting the most out of all my dimensionals, because I kind of use a lot of them. I like to make sure that my pieces are not sinking down in the middle. So a lot of the time I probably use more dimensionals than what's necessary. Okay. We're gonna this right. Ooh, got a little carried away. Right in the middle, just like that. And then our circle's gonna go next. We're actually using a lot of dimensionals on this one. I don't usually use quite this many, but I really like the way this one looks with a few extra. So here we go. We're going to trim all these edge pieces. And you can trim those to any size you want. I'm just trimming in between each little valley. I feel like that gives me a decent size for most things. Okay. Here is our circle. Oop, our hot cocoa's trying to get away. Okay, we're going to put our cup on here. Just like that. And then our you had me at is going to go right here. So on this right side, I need a little dimensional. But on the left side, I don't. Oops, I think it's too far over to the right. But it's going to have to do. Okay. So actually, I'm going to put 2 there on the right-hand side. Just because of where it sits on the card. Because this one is popped up, this one is popped up, so it kind of needs to be double. So we're going to put a second one there. And just a glue dot on the left side by the U. Okay. Now, you can stick it right here. You had me at, and then we need to put on our hot cocoa. So on the back, I'm going to take my liquid glue and I'm just going to kind of dot it around a few places. This is a really skinny little die, and so if I just put a little bit of liquid glue over here, it's going to stick to my card just fine. Okay, and I'm going to put my hot right here. And then I need a little glue for my cocoa. Okay. And we're just going to stick that cocoa right here. We had me at hot cocoa. Okay, let me know what you think. I think that card turned out really cute. And in fact, I'm going to take my Wink of Stella and I'm going to add a little Wink of Stella all around my card just to make it sparkly. So I'm going to add some up here to the whipped cream. And some to my hot cocoa. I might need to shake that up a little bit more. All right. You can see that glitter in there starting to come out. But it was kind of being shy. So it did need a little shake. I don't know who else is, but I am ready for hot cocoa season for sure. I had some this weekend while we were camping. And to be honest, I drink cocoa pretty much year round. Any cool evening is fair game for hot cocoa. Okay, there we go. Now it's really starting to sparkle. There we go. Okay, there is our first card for tonight. I think that's super cute. Hopefully you like it too. Hopefully you're feeling inspired by our crafting so far. All right, let's do a little tidy up and then we'll get back to work. Okay, so there is our first fun card. And let's make another. Okay. I think that this time we will go with a cherry cobbler card base. And let's do this one the other way. So let's go and cut it at 4 1/4 on the 8 1/2 side. So then our card will, I'm sorry, I got a little distracted. There's something damp over here. I must have sprayed out a little too far when I spritzed my water earlier. I might have been hurrying a little, and I might have been trying to lean to the side so you don't end up seeing the back of my head. I don't know. Who knows what I was doing? All right, so we're going to turn this sideways, and then we're going to score it at 5 1/2. So our card is going to be the same size as the other one. It's just going to be a different direction. And then when we fold it, it's going to go this way. We can press that seam with our bone folder. Seam, it's not a seam, it's a fold. All right, and then let's cut a piece of crumb cake. So we're kind of doing a card in reverse. So let's cut that. Let's see. Looks like it's about right this way. 4 1/4. So let's cut that 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. Yep, that looks like the right size. And then let's get a piece of white. That is 4 by 3. So I'm going to cut that out. Oh, my head is in the way. All right, I'm going to scoot this over. I didn't see any comments, so hopefully you could see around me that whole time and I wasn't in your way. Okay, we've got 3 by 4. Okay. Oh, I did not cut that one. Okay, 3 by 4. No, this one was longer. Okay, and we've got 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. Now, okay, and then let me get my Stampin' Pierce mat. And we're going to make sure we have it on the right side. So I try to pierce on the back side and stamp on the front side. I don't know that it makes a difference, but that's just the way I like to try and keep myself organized. There are probably a lot of little things that I do that don't even make sense. So if you do those same kind of things, you got to know that that's fine. Okay, let's do, let's see. No, I don't know why I'm having such a hard time picking words today, but I am. Let's choose nothing's better than apple pie. All right, this is probably a pumpkin pie here. Let's be honest, it looks like pumpkin pie. So maybe we should do nothing's better than donuts. How about that? All right, here is a little donut. Whoop. And nothing's better than and we'll stamp that in black. Aceto black memento. Right up here in the corner of the paper. Oh, hold on. That didn't go quite right. Alright, nothing's better than. And then on our separate piece of paper, we'll stamp our donut. Okay. And let's color our donut real quick. We'll use, let's use bronze for the cake part of our donut. And this is a Stampin' Blend. Bronze comes in a set with ivory. And that's probably one of my favorite sets, bronze and ivory. All right, so there is the cake part of our donut. And I like my frosted donuts to have white frosting, but we're going to use cherry cobbler for this one. The light cherry cobbler. So if we were eating this donut, it would probably turn our teeth a funny color. But I feel like cherry frosting would be pretty good. I don't feel like there's anything wrong with that. Or maybe it could be strawberry or not cranberry. I don't think cranberry frosting would be good. But most other kind of berry, I think would be okay. But I can't tell you, if I get a donut tomorrow, I'm going to hope, cross my fingers, it has white frosting and sprinkles. That's my favorite. Okay, nothing's better than, we need our donuts. Okay, so we're going to cut out this here donut. And let's see. Looks like maybe it goes this way. And then we're going to cut out the word donuts. Do we have that word? I don't think we do. Pumpkin season. And we don't have donuts. Okay. So we've got nothing's better than, and we're going to have to stamp our donuts on there. All right. There's the donuts. I'm going to cut this one out. Oh, I just got an idea. Let's, okay. We're going to make a little pile of donuts. Won't that be fun? Okay. So here's our, we're going to bring this back. We're going to get our little donut stamp. We're going to put this one, we'll put that one on top. Right, and let's make a couple more donuts. Right, I think we're going to make another one we cut out. I hope that you enjoy the design as you go process, because I sometimes have different ideas than what I start with, for sure. Okay, so let's color these two donuts real quick before we move on. I'm going to make one of them light crumb cake, the donut part. And then, because I told you I really like that ivory, let's use that for one. And ivory and crumb cake are kind of similar, but I feel like ivory has a little more yellow to it. Yeah, it looks like I might need a new ivory soon. Okay. I don't know if you can see the difference there between those two colors. They're really in the background. Okay, and let's have, I feel like one should have white frosting with colored sprinkles. So let's see if we can do that. We'll kind of color along the edges of these sprinkles. And I think that'll give them the look of being colored. Okay, that was cherry cobbler. And let's use, this is boho blue. And what else have I got in here? I think maybe we need a yellow. So let's use some Daffodil Delight. This is light Daffodil Delight. Okay. Okay, so there's that one that looks like my favorite donut, right? And let's make this other one chocolate frosting. So we'll use the bronze on that. And it doesn't look like a dark chocolate, just maybe a milk chocolate frosting. Okay, and then for this white frosted donut, let's add a little bit of Wink of Stella around the edges here. And around the inside. Maybe that'll make it look like it's round. I don't know. Okay, we're going to cut this one out. With our die. I think that most of the time you can see me while I'm working now that I have my camera set up right. So if I do something crazy, hopefully no one notices. Okay, now we have our 3 donuts. So I think we'll put them like this. And then I'm going to stamp the word donuts down here. But what I'm going to do is, let's see, cherry cobbler. We use boho blue and daffodil delight. So one of the fun things you can do is with our Stampin' Write markers, you can actually color on the stamps. You cannot do that with the Stampin' Blends. They will ruin your stamps. But you can do it with, okay, I'm going to use Pacific Point, which is not a color anymore. So please don't, you can swap it out for whatever color you want. So we're going to use Cherry Cobbler, Pacific Point, and Daffodil Delight. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our stamp and with a brush end, we're going to color some of our letters. So I'm going to kind of color along. All right, I'm coloring the T. Okay. And then I'm going to do the blue next. And I'll go to the U and the N maybe. And then I'll do some cherry cobbler. If I was thinking ahead, I might have counted out the letters and made sure that I did the same amount of letters in each color, but I was not thinking that far ahead. Okay, and then I'll go back to the Daffodil Delight. think I need to make that cherry cobbler go a little bit farther, because I don't want to color over cherry cobbler with my Daffodil Delight. Now you can tap these on your stamp, or you can just color them with your marker. Right, and then I need a little more blue. And then we'll finish it off with some red. Alright, now I'm going to take and huff on this stamp, and hopefully it works, because with a process like this, you kind of have one shot at it. And we're going to stamp it right down here. Oh, it didn't turn out exactly how I wanted it, but it's still cute. Okay, so there's the word donuts. Can you see that? And then what we're going to do is, just so it's a little more obvious, we're going to stamp it again with our Memento ink. So I'm going to clean it off. I'm going to grab a piece of grid paper here, open my Memento ink, and I'm going to ink up my stamp, and I'm going to stamp off here, and then I'm going to stamp a little bit off from my colorful stamp here. And it's not perfect, but I think it's cute, and so we are going to go with that. All right, I'm going to clean this one off because it's been used quite a bit. I'm going to clean all the other ones, don't worry. I usually clean them right away, but I'm kind of procrastinating that part tonight, the cleaning part. Okay, so we're going to put this together. Nothing's better than donuts. I'm going to turn this over. We can center that right in the middle there. Okay, let's turn our donuts over, and this one that we made, cherry cobbler, we're going to add 2 dimensionals to the back. And let's put that one right here. And then we will add, let's see, 2 to each side. Oops, that's the wrong one. Of this one. Whoops. So let's do, we're going to add double dimensionals to make it stand up a little bit higher than that first one. So then we're just going to put a second dimensional on top of the first and take off the back. And then we can put this donut right over top of that one. And see how they're like a little stack of donuts? Who doesn't want a stack of donuts? Well, I mean, I'm sure there are people who don't, but there are times for sure when I could eat a stack of donuts. Okay. So there is the front of our card, And we are going to put that on dimensionals too. So we're going to add 1 to each corner. I've got to trim my next edge here. Oops. Okay. And then we'll put 1 in the middle. I hope that you're all doing well tonight. I hope you can see me and hear me. I haven't seen any comments come up. Hopefully everything is working right. Okay, we're going to put this right in the middle. Now for the inside, I'm going to grab one of my already cut little 4 by 5 1/4 pieces. And I'm going to stamp for the inside of my card, except maybe you. So then it's going to say, nothing's better than donuts, except maybe you. And I definitely have some friends in my life that are better than donuts. I would spend time with them instead of eating a donut. And I feel like that's saying a lot because I do love donuts. Okay. I'm going to stamp off this time because of how I struggled with that first one. And I'm going to stamp right here, except maybe, no, right in the middle, except maybe you. Okay. And now I'm going to put my glue on here. My little bit of glue. And remember, you want to do a little line around the edge and a squiggle down the middle. If you're using the liquid glue, that is all you need. You don't need a lot. Just a little squiggle down the middle. A little around the edge and a squiggle down the middle. Okay, so here are 2 cards for tonight. We've got the first one, You Had Me at Hot Cocoa. And the second one, Nothing's Better Than Donuts, except maybe you. So if you want to place an order, then I will send you, okay, your order has to be $35 or more on Stampin' Up, and you're going to use the host code WTEWXBAB. And that is also in the description of this video, so you can find it there. If you place your order between now and October 30th, I will send you all of the cardstock and the piece of ribbon, any embellishments you might need to go with these 2 cards. So I hope that you have enjoyed our free card class for today. I hope that your autumn is going well, that your harvest season goes well. And I will see you the first Sunday in November for our next free class. If you are wanting to come to the next in-person class, there's actually one. There was one last Friday and there's one next Friday. I will show you the cards that we'll be making. Now one of these is going to look a little familiar. Okay, so here is a little hot cocoa card we'll be making. Here is, oh, let's see. This card is really sweet. It's, and you can't see what it says, but it says, it's okay if all you did today is breathe. Sometimes that's all we can do, right? Here is another one with the same sentiment, but this card is pretty cool. It's a flat back card, and that was a design I learned from Deb Sneak. This card, There is Hope. It's a really simple, encouraging card to send. 1, 2, 3, and that's all 4 of them. So if you still want to sign up for that class this Friday, there's time for that. It's at 6 o'clock in person. I have room for 4 people, and I think I already have 2 signed up. So let me know if you want to come to that class. And that is all for tonight, friends. I will see you soon. Until then, happy stamping!